Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. If you couldn't already tell by the music and what you're seeing on screen, we are doing another CDL match breakdown and looking at why Vegas Falcons can't seem to buy a hardpoint win. What are they fundamentally doing wrong to not succeed in that game mode? We're going to be looking at the game, as I say, that matchup against between Vegas Falcons and LAG. Both teams come with two completely new fan bases. LAG, owned by a French organization, now come with a bunch of French fans from Europe, and Vegas Falcons coming from EU challengers, also with a huge bunch of fans. The LAG team is made up of two now world champs back when they were NYSL in Priest and Kismet, with the addition of Linz, who is a really solid rookie from last year, and Lunas, who shows promise this year. Vegas Falcons, complete pickup, no ex-pros in here whatsoever, pure talent from challengers. So why are we covering another hardpoint, you ask? It's because Vegas Falcons are on a 0% win percentage on hardpoint. And for those of you who aren't necessarily interested in the CDL, this might be the most beneficial map analysis breakdown for you guys to see, because Vegas Falcons can't win against a pro team, and maybe, just maybe, they're making some fundamental mistakes that you might also be making when you're playing ranked play on Black Ops 6. So yeah, Vegas Falcons, considerably poor performers on hardpoint, as you can see in this red area here. Their average KD is below a 0.9. Their average hardpoint score by the end of the match is 166. And the difference between their opponents and them on average is 84 seconds, or 84 points, which is substantially worse than any other team in the league. Even Gentlemates, who are 11th, second from bottom, they're still somewhat standing within this sort of realms of the other teams, whereas Vegas Falcons are completely stood out here. So yeah, we're comparing the bottom two teams. It's not like we're comparing a game where Falcons are playing Thieves or FaZe or a team that's really, really strong looking. We are literally watching the 11th seed versus the 12th seed, both two worst at their hardpoint, and generally they are seeded as the bottom two in the CDL as it stands. So first, we're going to take a look at the leaderboard, see if there's anything to stand out from here. We're going to be looking at the pattern of the growth within the game, and then we're going to be getting into the details and seeing what Vegas are doing wrong. They've got a good coaching team. They should have a solid backing from their coaches and some really good insights coming from their analytics and coaching teams, as we said. But of course, throughout this whole video, what are your thoughts? As I say, some really passionate fans from Vegas Falcons and LAG this year, especially. And I'd love to hear some feedback from not even these fans, but just general fans of the CDL. And even if you're not fans of the CDL, is there anything you noticed that they're doing that you should be doing, or you shouldn't be doing, more so when you're playing in your next ranked play or league game? So KD wise, if we're looking at the first stat in this column, Vegas Falcons seem to be slightly ahead of KD. They're 4-2 down, so you could argue they're 6 kills ahead of LAG this game, and they lose by 35 points. So yeah, KD wise, you'd assume Vegas Falcons have performed better. That leads into damage, it leads into assists. The more kills, the more assists, the more damage. It tends to be the case. Interestingly, the hill time just isn't quite as shared as it was. Exnid got 6 whole seconds on the hill. Even the lowest on LAG managed to get 33 seconds. So I'm wondering if Exnid's playing a little bit too off the hill because he doesn't believe they should be. That's something we're going to be taking a look at as we get in the game. If we just hide my faces, we can see the rest of the leaderboard. It does look like they're, as I say, falling short on some of these statistical areas for the objective. Let's draw this back a little bit, forward a little bit, sorry, just to see the pattern of the win. Both start off a little bit slow. Going into P2 and 3, Vegas hold a bit of a dub. It gets then a bit tight. I think LAG pull it back on the first P4. It remains a little bit of a tight gap, tight competition all the way into the last set of rotations, where LAG just seem to get most hill time out of P1, P2, and P3 to win the game, 250 to 215. So let's pull this back all the way to the beginning of the match, see what we notice, and yeah, as I say, let me know your thoughts down in the comments if there's anything that I don't notice that you do. So we're going to slowly turn down the music. Let's have a look at the breakoffs here. So if we rewind this a couple more seconds.
So this is going to be a battle of the hard points. Who's going to take them?
So a really nice route here. You've got LAG taking quite a spread route. You've got one person going through kitchen. You've got player number 5 going up top, and then you've got 2 hitting bottom. Where you've got one watching the bedroom push and one hitting the the art push towards the guitar area, probably channeling out front. So it's a relatively standard split from LAG, whereas on the side of Falcons, if we take a look at the minimap here, you've got one developing the kitchen and you've got 3 people around the piano area. So they've got a little bit more of a localized approach towards P1, but let's see how they play and we'll rewind if we feel like we need to do so. So LAG managed to get on the hill first. I think this is a little bit of a scrappy objective.
Been having technical issues all day long. Hopefully, audio's got me here, but jumping on into it. Vegas,
they seem to be getting a lot of hill time here. Vegas Vegas managed to get 2 kills, play off those kills, get on the hill time. That's a really good play. They played the kills. They didn't just jump onto the hill expecting them to win the gunfight. They got the map control. They won the initial gunfights. They got on the objective after that. Okay, they got 2 kills up before they even thought about jumping on the objective. So that's good fundamentals from Vegas there. Unfortunately, it allowed LAG to get the most hill time simply because they were there first. Potentially a better opening break from Vegas could have fared them in a better position at the start of the match, but it hasn't. You know, we'll see how this P1 plays out.
Compared to stage 2 from stage 1, you go from 7th to 5th, so you've basically proven a little bit there.
A little bit of a choke from Kismet there. Yeah, and this is some really good COD out of Vegas. This is what we actually really love to see. They managed to hold the P2 rotation towards P2, as you guys know. There's 10 seconds left. We need to be thinking about the new. If we're thinking fundamentals here, 10 seconds left. Vegas and both LAG and ALG should both be focused on the new objective. So Vegas have actually done a really good job at winning the important gunfights towards top middle here. They've got a player on the time, and they've got 1 player watching the kitchen push through. This is going to be worrying. I don't know whether or not this player is going to be ready for 3 enemies. There's 10 seconds left of the objective. Let's see how this plays out.
Teams, but you can see when they're on point, these guys can shoot. They just need to start to understand the game. Yeah, it was 16 seconds early on for the Guerrillas here at P1, but an instant break from Vegas.
So you can see what's really interesting now is they've just let the whole of LAG through. They've managed to get 1 kill, which has enabled this player. The first death, when people are blocking, will spawn the other players out. So, for example, you can see Lin's managed to get the first kill on King. They then have their team push through the back spawn. This blocks the back spawn. King then spawns all the way out. Player number 3 spawns all the way out because they've respawned in whilst LAG have got control of this left-hand side. And that is the start of a really good hill here. Although I think Vegas managed to get most of the hill time, if I remember correctly. But yeah, maybe not enough emphasis put towards the rotation. They were probably focusing too much, maybe, on getting the most time out of P1 as possible, but I don't think it's hindered them too badly. They've still, hopefully, got a decent setup towards this new objective.
Already a couple players behind.
Yeah, Luna's able to find one that will alert the rest of the troops here for Vegas. They back off, trying to find the kills that they can. X did good for his first elimination. Also had a look at Lin's. You got to keep in mind that
good kill. This is really strong. X is playing as life here. Essentially means that every kill Vegas get spawn LAG all the way out. So they're getting really good hill time here. Just got to win these gunfights.
That was way back in Major 1 when this was a stapled map for the side of the Guerrillas made. So see if they can kind of try to find that same map.
Yeah, let's just take a quick look at the setup here. So they've had enough time to sort of setup out. You've got player number 2 who's watching the kitchen push as well as blocking the spawns. You've got player number 1 on the back balcony watching their push through catwalk. Player number 4 is watching the piano jump up, and then player number 3 is essentially just making sure they're getting the hill time, but also they're covering the lift. If anyone decides to push up the lift or elevator, if you're from the US, number 3 is going to be getting that as well. So actually, not a bad setup. None of the map isn't covered. The only thing I would say is it's quite a defensive setup. They're waiting for the enemy, waiting for LAG to get to the objective before they take on them engagements. But realistically, I don't think there was enough time for them to aggress and put that pressure on initially. So yeah, not a bad setup. Let's see if they can hold it and win their gunfights, which is the important thing.
Hey, right now, I'm not gonna lie, Vegas, they are impressing the hell out of me. So far,
so what's really nice about this is that, and something that is a huge credit to LAG here, is although they haven't just hit the objective bang out first, and although they didn't get the first kill, they managed to trade their player out as well as pushing into the enemy spawn. And because they've pushed into the spawn of P2, as you can see on this minimap, number 4 has actually spawned the furthest possible spawn on this map. So yeah, although Vegas got the first kill, they've allowed LAG to seep through the defense because they haven't been that aggressive. They haven't pushed up. They've pretty much given LAG all the map control they could ever ask for, and they've basically just wandered into their spawn, and that has allowed Vegas to spawn all the way out. So good play from LAG. They're focusing on the spawns, not the objective, and yeah, unfortunately, Vegas is still on hill, but that's good fundamentals there. Just some really good kills from X in there, some huge kills. LAG should have won that. So it was a 2v1. Not sure what happened there. Maybe a lack of communication. But in that situation, if Vegas were playing a better team, they would have been broken. That's the fact of it. The fact that they've allowed Exnid to get those 2 kills is not good for LAG. If that was a top team, even a top half team, Exnid probably gets traded. LAG then spawn in and they push the objective from behind and they get the good spawns and they get most of this next hill time. So yeah, could have been better, but it all comes from that really quite a defensive hold on the hill, and they've allowed LAG to get all that map control. So you can see the emphasis on LAG hitting towards the new objective here, which is really good to see. They're also spreading the map, so what they've got here currently is a player 8 and number 5 are watching the middle cross, player 7 and 6, well, player 7 is watching the front, player 6 is watching the mid cut, so they've got the whole map covered. Yes, no one's watching the vent, but other than that, they've pretty much got the whole map covered. So seems to be a good setup, similar to what we saw on the other side of the things for Vegas. Let's see how we get on. Now, this is a really hard hill to break if it's held correctly. You could have maybe given up a little bit of hill time at the old objective if you were Vegas, but that's some really, really, really big kills there. Okay, let's break down what happened there, because that was insane. I'm seeing this on the kill feed, which shouldn't happen. So let's take a look at the minimap first of all. So player number 2 manages to get up the vent. It seems like that's the vent side. They managed to flank round, get the kills. Yeah, this was a shocker for them. They got the first blood. The fundamentals of setting up for the new hill, you need to win the first gunfight. If you're setting up for the new hill and you're not positioning yourself correctly, you're leading. It's gonna cause a break. You need to get the first kill, even if you then get traded. Your teammate trades them, and then you end up being the last team standing. The fact that LAG died 3 times without anyone on Vegas dying has just allowed player number 6 to get choked into submission essentially on the actual objective. So yeah, really, really good break from Vegas Falcons. They won some solid gunfights, which enabled them to get through. So they're playing well so far. This looks like really good COD from LAG from Vegas. Now this is interesting. This is what I'm seeing here is very interesting. So from that, somehow LAG have completely managed to take back control of this objective. So we're going to rewind this again and take a look at the minimap. So we get the hills, and they've simply allowed LAG to get through, interestingly. So player number 6 and player number 7 are both top, and no one on Vegas has picked it up. If they've picked it up, it's just too late. Kismet won a huge gunfight back here. This is what holds the spawns. Player number 1 then dies off time. None of these 2 decide to try and trade them. This is interesting. Interesting events happening here. Player number 3 seems to be a bit lost as to where the enemies are. Yeah, and because player number 7 and number 2 are both in this right-hand side spawn, both teams have then spawned out. So, yeah, real unfortunate circumstances there. They didn't account for anyone coming top. They've allowed Kismet to seep through. Rookie error. That has enabled Vegas to spawn all the way out. They now don't have the rotation for P4, which is here. Really not great situation to be in. And there's also no trade. Player number 2, I understand they're coming for the spawn. Player number 3 does not want to chow. Who is that? King does not want to chow the objective. They don't, Kismet's going to be communicating that he's blocking. You can see LAG sort of turn to look at this spawn point. They know that's where these guys seem to understand that's how the spawns work, which is obviously good as a pro team. They're turning, but yet player number 3 yet to trade or yet to look for a trade. So really good gunfight. Number 2 got the trade. Unfortunately, LAG are still on the objective. Player number 3 is just taken too long. If we rewind this a couple of steps, they need to go. That's 2 players down. What's he waiting for? You've got support on his teammates. He's left it a little bit too long. Yeah, even if he gets a kill there, he's going to be traded because player number 6 and 7 push too much. But I feel like he should have traded even earlier. If we take a look at the minimap, right here, LAG are spawning on the left. 2 of them have just gone over. Player number 1 can see 2 on the objective. Player number 3 needs to do something at this point. Okay, player number 2 goes for the spawn. Player number 3 needs to go, right, let me just put some pressure on time. That's what needs to happen here. Player number 3 sits here for far too long. Still not chowed. It's just chowed then. Playing their life a little bit. And then they chow. There's not a lot going on with player number 3 there. I don't know whether they're in the head a little bit, but that was a little bit of a delayed push. There needs to be a little bit more aggression there. If you watch a good team in that situation, they're playing a lot more quickly. They've got confidence in their gunfights. They've got confidence in their gunniers, so they're taking on those gunfights a little bit quicker. So a 4 down, essentially, for Vegas has allowed LAG somehow to turn on its head and completely get on the new objective. Now, this is a really scary point to be in for Vegas. Kismet has got the first kill on the Vegas setup, but let's see how this plays out.
Need to win these gunfights, so you're going to spawn all the way across the map. Thankfully, your teammates are able to find a couple of trades, but Lunars and Liz are able to fly on in to find 3 of their own. But Vegas just keep on trading, so they still have the spawns towards the back.
Yeah, one player will spawn out. King can use that as a chance to stop the reinforcements over the middle of the map. Prophet is inside the Hardpoint. Priesta.
Wow. Okay.
He's able to take down 3. That allows.
That's insane. That is insane. So we're going to rewind this back, and again, we're just going to be taking a look at the mini map. Vegas decides to chalk 10 seconds of this new objective. Player number 4 decides to come over the roof, managed to get through. Player number 8, I believe, saw them. But Vegas have chalked 10 seconds of the old objective. You should hope they've got a solid setup at the new one. They've got a player who's lurking somewhere around top bed area, I believe. You've got a player on the objective and a player watching the back spawn. Not bad. It's going to be really easy to be singled out. If these two players decide to push through, they managed to get the first kill. But Vegas is still in a good position. It's a 3v3 as it stands. Vegas have got the good spawns, which is an advantage because of how close you can spawn to the objective. So let's see just how this breaks down. Good trade. 8 then trades the player on time. Player number 2 gets the trade. Player number 4 spawns in. Good kill. This is still not bad. This is still a bit. It's trade. That should have been a kill. Yeah, maybe. That should have done more. That player number 3 should have been more effective there. So player number 4 spawning in, gets the kill. Player number 1 communicates that they've just spawned in. Vegas, this player number 3 knows the spawning piano. There is such a huge opportunity for player number 3 to cut the map here. I think King is a sub. It's not too late to switch to an AR. He's only just spawned in. He's got time to switch to the AR, get on a heady, and just watch this cross. He needs to be getting at least 1 kill here. He shoots without actually killing. Alerts number 5, who's on an absolutely disgusting head glitch on P1. Number 5 then wins that gunfight, because why wouldn't they? They're on an advantage there. Player number 3 could have been more influential off the spawn. They could have maybe got number 5 killed. Number 8 would have been forced to trade, but it would have slowed down that approach to the objective. Yeah, player number 3 needs to be way more impactful there than they were. It's an easy spawn to read. You guys watching the channel know that that's an easy spawn to read. And then Priesta somehow managed to get a 2-piece. If we zoom out and see what Vegas did wrong here, they're on it. He's on a heady. Exnid, I don't know where they were looking. Got to be honest, not sure where Exnid was looking, but that should be a trade. Priesta should never get the 2-piece. There's something fundamentally wrong with that. They both should have been trading that person there. Priesta behind the bathtub. Not a good look for Vegas at all. But he managed to get a kill. He's then just laying down behind the objective. It now doesn't matter that player number 4 is here, because he's got to challenge the hill. He's got an AR. He's going to lose a gunfight to Priest, who sat behind the bathtub. And because of the aggression towards this spawn, and Priest has pushed out so far, player number 3 now spawns out. So good 2-piece from Priester, but it all comes from the fact that, first of all, you have King not watching the cross effectively as he should. And then secondly, not challenging the one player they know is on time together. That is a huge miss of fundamentals there, and it just allows Priester to get a 2-piece.
Down 3, that allows now the secondary hit from the front continue to get into the hard point, and in that moment the spawns are also blocked and then eventually flipped. LAG a chance to recover.
So yeah, LAG, although again Vegas managed to slow down the push here. So what's really good about player number 5 there, Lunas, he's cutting off the map, he's being that first line of defense, and that's what player number 3 should have done, because you can see how slow Vegas are at pushing the old objective, because player number 5 put in that initial push. This is interesting. It's almost like Vegas Vegas are being too fundamental here. They've given up 20 seconds of hill time just to try and get set up at P1. I don't know whether that's a bad call. I don't know whether that's a good call. You can have a setup on P1 and have players aggress the objective, but giving away 20 seconds in a match this tight is risky. You've got to guarantee a good hold here.
Trophy system up for Linz and Lunars to work together.
Okay, good first blood. Player number 6 has been able to get across, but he gets picked off by Wixel. Okay, good setup. Really, really nice.
That is perfect, man. Everyone just held down.
This is also good from King. He needs to believe in his position here.
Spotted a couple players roaming through top plat. The home was just making sure he was
really good.
AR, watching over his teammates. You had the underground route also being covered, so Vegas are definitely learning how to understand the game now.
Watching number 6 at this point, he's being really, really difficult.
Still keeping him mixy as well.
Okay.
With some tempo as well. I mean,
so watch number 6 on this minimap here. So that's Priester. He's challenging bottom art. He managed to. He's checking the corners. He chows out. He's bottom mid, by the way. He challenges a player. He has absolutely no cover here. He challenges a player who is on one of the best head glitches on the map and wins that gunfight with a sub. Okay, that player should have won that gunfight. There's no excuse for that. And that comes down to talent. Maybe Priest is a good player. He's a champ. Yeah, that should have been a gunfight win. But what he then does is gets behind the defensive. He allows his players to push up onto the objective. He's pushed up piano. None of these players have yet to react. He manages to kill person top piano. But yeah, he could have been. This could have been dangerous. You get a player who loves to be in the mix. If this was Hydra doing this, he could have been a lot more of a pain in P2. I think the mistake Priester makes here is to put a lot of emphasis on P1. He could have been a real thorn in the side of Vegas here by playing around this left-hand side spawn. Because any kills he gets whilst being in this back left zone basically will spawn Vegas out. He's a little bit too lopsided towards piano here, which enables number 1 to spawn in. But he could have been a real pain in the arse here for Vegas if he'd have stayed alive in this area. He could have been running up and down P2, going up the elevator, playing in the vent. You know, he could have just been playing around this P2 area a lot more effectively, winning those gunfights. Instead, he comes back to trade his teammate who's on the hill, ends up dying in the process. But as I say, I like that, his willingness to jump on the objective, but he's given up the rotational spawns. He could have just been annoying back here, allowed his teammates to clear up the time. Because realistically, Priester plays really difficult here. He's got 1 or 2 players on Vegas looking for him. If he's getting a kill sitting in a corner and just being really quiet, Vegas is going to be looking for him. He's going to allow his teammates to push onto the objective with the player on the hill being somewhat distracted without a teammates to look over them because they're going to be looking for Priester, player number 6. So yeah, mistake by LAG there. Priester could have been a little bit more difficult to kill and maybe allowed the rest of his team to jump on the objective instead of him doing it, okay? That's what I'd say there. But him jumping on the objective essentially gave Vegas the spawns back and allowed them to kill him. So, again, if that was a better player on a better team, Vegas would have struggled there. It would have been an even, you know, yeah, would have been dangerous. They would have got the P2 spawns likely.
Now you're starting to see, like, from King's perspective right then in that last life, he's getting forward.
Okay, so we're going to, at the end of P1 with Vegas with the good spawns. Again, similar thing happening to what we've had before. LAG doing the exact same thing they did before, putting all that pressure towards Kitchen. If you look at where Vegas are, you've got 3. You've got 1 player looking down the vent. You've got 1 player looking down piano, and you've got 1 player front. Player number 3 has got to come across 3 players. Again, they haven't seemed to learn. This is the same default setup they pretty much had on the first set of P1 to P2 rotations, and they almost got broken so easily. They need to be learning in the game. They need to be learning and realizing that, okay, LAG, last time that happened, they just triple pushed Kitch. They haven't learned, and they've left number 3 a little bit open here. Let's see how it works. Yeah, they've lost the gunfight. They're going to get through. A little bit more push from LAG will spawn Vegas out. Unfortunately, they didn't push enough to spawn player number 3 out, so they've spawned in. But look how much map control LAG have been able to get because they weren't pushed up enough. They haven't had anyone kitchen. They've got someone. The player who sat in kitchen, defending kitchen, could have been pushed up a lot more, taking on that gunfight a lot closer to the spawn of LAG. Dev died, allowed LAG through. LAG are now, play number 7 is now sat right in the depths of the spawn, causing Vegas to spawn all the way out. And they've just lost that. So again, it's another 2-piece allowing LAG into the objective. So although they've tried so hard to keep those spawns, and that was probably in their head a lot of the time, they've allowed LAG to fall through their defense. And it's a similar thing of not being pushed up enough, nor being close enough to trade them out. I could pause and rewatch, but this video is going to be an hour long otherwise. So yeah. Okay, good fundamentals from Doom there. Actually, fair play to that. He's decided, okay, there's 10 seconds left. Even if I get to the objective, I'm going to win a gunfight, but I'm going to get 4 or 5 seconds max. He's decided, okay, let me pull it back a bit. Let me get onto a head glitch and let me just, you know, set up at new. So I don't mind that. That fundamental tactic is good. Let's just see how they convert this rotation.
Get that rotation over towards P3. Win these initial gunfights. Effective on the trades, at least able to take one down.
Okay, nice.
So now you win the rotation over.
We've learnt a little bit here. Player number 1's sat on P1 watching the bridge across. So again, they are learning. But that P2 was shocking from Vegas. Awful setup. Again, too defensive, and they weren't in position to trade. Yeah, good initial push here. Vixel is really, really annoying here. If he can play his life there, get a trophy down. He has a trophy. Get a trophy down. Have player number 2 look over them a little bit. No one on LAG is getting through. If Vixel sits on this heady, does something, just but he's annoying. He's got a trophy at his feet. He's got player number 2 looking over them. This could have been a lot more of an effective setup here. But he backs up, gives up that map control, dies to a grenade. Exnid is now singled out here, although he's playing his life really, really well. But look at this break. Again, Priester making an absolutely significant play there, as Maven just said. Not Maven, sorry. Which route does he take? So, yeah, this is interesting actually. So they've killed Priester and they haven't blocked the spawn. And not only have they not blocked the spawn, they've pushed all the way up towards mid-map without having anyone block. This is, you guys know, you guys watch the channel, you know the vault spawns. We've just looked at a video where we've looked at vault spawns. This is a fundamental, they can't be doing this. They've allowed Priester in. Priester breaks the hill from behind, and that is simply because they've, you know, they've got so much focus on this. No one's blocking. So again, they've set up. They did, you know what? They did a decent job towards P1. They simply had someone pushed up. They killed NAG and then a member of LAG, and they haven't had anyone blocking in that process.
Finding the first, but Lynn's Lunars following up nicely until Tahum eventually wins out.
You can see how aggressive LAG are at just trying to get that trade and trusting the teammates behind them to get that trade. That's what we need to see more out of Vegas here. But in any case, this is a good situation to be in. Vegas is spawning on the new objective.
When you're playing too safe in the back of your spawn, a couple kills don't go your way, then you're instantly spawning out. You can already see they're in a man disadvantage with Exnid all the way across the map. You're going to get overwhelmed on the backside of Cabo. You need these gunfights to count. Thankfully, Wixel's reading the pressure to try to secure these spawns.
What on earth was that? Okay, this is a thing. It's fine. If you're in challenges and you're not playing for tens of thousands of dollars, that's fine. Again, not a great setup from Vegas here. If we rewind this and just take a look at the CDL, the map zoom. There's 8 seconds left to the objective. Vegas have decided to set up. Fine. Player number 2 decides to try and get some time. At this point, they decide to set up. I don't mind this. Player number 2 does spawn out because of the aggression towards this right-hand side of the map. You can see, if you look down, that don't forget, we're still on P3. LAG have got a lot more influence towards the right-hand side of the map than they do the left. Player number 5 is blocking this back cobble spawn because they're looking at it. And then player number 6 and 7 will essentially be blocking this spawn because of how close they are. The safest spawn for player number 2 is all the way out here. So yeah, you could argue Exnid probably played a little bit too aggressively towards the old objective rather than deciding to set up. If we saw what Doom did on the hill before, looked at the time, no, there's 10 seconds left, let me just go to the new objective. Player number 2 and Exnid could have probably done that, and they'd have been a little bit better off. But what's interesting here is even though they set up, they don't, you can see it, look how centralized they are. All their arrows are looking at almost one point in the map. There's got no one watching this right-hand side. Well, maybe they do in a way. But no one's watching this left push. This is not a great situation for them. This player comes from number 1 here, decides to challenge from the top. But it's almost a little bit too late because they've enabled players number 5 and 8 to push through this right-hand side. The advantage they have is that I don't think LAG know Xnid is back here. And if Xnid is walking through this absolutely free as they are, they need to be quick. They need to put their foot down. They need to get to the help and try and flank someone that they're getting pressure from. These teammates here must be communicating that they're seeing people. If we take a zoom out here, you can see close objectives, close engagements. This player senses this player's coming from this side. The fact that Xnid is seeing no one middle, they're off the objective here. He needs to be approaching the backs of these teams way quicker. And he sort of does that. He's checking, he's trying to help out. Player number 1 decides to get that kill, and then does something absolutely wild. He just completely flies out here, completely unwarranted. He's on a head glitch here. This is not necessary. Not necessary whatsoever. Just play that head glitch, jiggle it. You're blocking spawns while you're up there. Stay there. Linz manages to win that gunfight. I do think he gets traded out. But again, it's those mistakes that won't be forgiven when you're playing against a better team. Okay, don't forget, this is the second worst team behind Vegas here that they're playing against. And they're doing stuff like that. Yeah, needs to be a little bit more disciplined for sure.
To follow through beyond that. Now looking to kind of go up and over towards this back patio position. Doom right underneath them.
So again, they managed to get some decent kills here. Unfortunate death to Linz, but again, we're not in a shabby position if you're Vegas.
Yeah, they're just trying to bombard their way through top plat and through the bottom side of bedroom, but every single
Again,
time Vegas,
that is a great example of good teamwork. They had a player overlooking the peak of the bath. They then have another player push through. Xnid has managed to push the spawns all the way out to this back left-hand side here. Let's see if they can be an annoyance. But this is good. This is good COD.
is trading out more effective. They are clutching up in their one-on-one gunfights. This final
Needs to be a read. That's a fundamental. They need to be reading that spawn there.
might be the first time we ever see Vegas Falcons breach that 200-point mark, but we might be in a moment of history right here, chat. They're going to win potentially their first Hardpoint if they continue to play the way that they do.
Very well might. Trades over the top of P4. Lunar leaving now.
So yeah, not an ideal situation. But they've only given up 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds maybe of P4, so it's not actually that bad. It's not something that is the swing of the game. And again, Vegas have got the good spawns for P2 by giving that up, so it's actually not too bad. But let's see what happens here, because this is where LAG almost do perfect COD.
High ground battle also starts to rage on over towards the hallways, but Lunar's timing here good for 1. Doesn't expect.
That's a really good kill.
P2, but it's a chance to flip spawns and now take the folks back into the hard point, which Lunar's is now able to find in a row.
Okay.
It's a big double there from Luna's on 5 in a row. Just need to keep finding.
Okay, we're gonna break this down a little bit. Vegas look a little bit lost. I'm just looking at the minimap here. We're going to play this out actually a little bit. I'm just taking a look at the minimap, seeing what's happening. But we will wind that back because something it's a big loss gunfight there, which enabled Lunas to get so much map control. Yeah, this is really good from LAG. Okay, before this gets too far, we're gonna rewind it a few moments. Not that few, not that many. So we're going to take a look at the minimap here. Lunas does an underground route from P4 to P2, which is one of the most obvious routes going from... The objective is almost next to that underground route, so you've got to have someone check it. What happens here is that you have no one picking it up, first of all, which is something you need to at least put a little bit of time towards. But also you've got a player here running with their pistol out. Now, the map, it's a shocking gunfight, but what happens next is even worse. So yes, he got caught off guard. Fine, we'll give him that.
Lunar's timing here, good for 1. Doesn't expect the second to play top P.
This is the interesting bit. Play number 1 is playing very, very, very passively. Allows Lunas to be a real pain in the ass. Play number 1 then pulls out. Look how long it takes them to recover. Play number 2 and 3 seem to run through, but look at play number 1. They're still back there. They don't seem to have the confidence in where LAG are spawning. It's a little bit concerning, but they've taken all that time just to look for Lunas. Yes, they got the first kill, but then they just decided to sit all the way back and spawn for a good 5-10 seconds there. and has simply allowed LAG to get all this hill time. Yep, Exid and Wixel get a couple of good kills. LAG managed to get a few good kills there. So again, they're not in great positions realistically. These aren't power positions. They haven't killed anyone on LAG, and they're just stood in the middle of the pool table. It's, again, not great. But what LAG do here is really, really nice. They've just pushed through the hill. And because they've pushed through the objective, they've got 20 seconds left. Number one start to spawn out. It's a 3v2 back here, which means they've got to kill these 3 players. Have got to do enough to kill these 2, because they will then just continually spawn Falcons out. Managed to get the trade. It's now a 1v1 in the spawn. This is a huge gunfight. Player number 8 managed to spawn in because of the positions on Vegas weren't pushed up enough. It's then like, it's almost like they don't know Priest is there anymore. Yeah, so Priest is allowed to go absolutely rogue right here. So I don't know whether Vegas are counting names either. So I think the confusion happened when player number 8 died. So player number 8 spawned in. Vegas then got the kill of the player back tree. I think then they've assumed player number 6 has died because they only know there's one player back here. They then seem to just stop looking for him. You've got
on more Falcons members and
yeah, you've got this player decides to just leave the back spawn. This player seems absolutely clueless. There's anyone else back here? Yeah, they don't know Priest is back here. They're not looking at names at all. Yeah, this is huge. This is just making it really, really difficult. Unfortunate gunfight loss there. It allows Vegas to continue to spawn in. Okay, this isn't bad. For Vegas, this isn't really, really bad. What's unfortunately happened is they've allowed Lunas to get through. So again, their setup isn't airtight. And because Lunas is playing their life there, Vegas is just spawning all the way out.
Indeed, they are. Lunars waiting for help. It's being reduced though. Tries to make
big gunfight.
One more inside. Hardpoint to whom lines up to Priesta. Oh my God. No, he's in the corner and will trade him out. 215, 215. Spawns will move. 28 seconds to fight, and LAG are finding the kills they need.
And if you're Vegas, you can't afford to give this one up. You have to contest this all the way to the very end. So you're going to send in the reinforcements.
Yeah, this looks tricky. LAG are doing a really, really good job here. They're just running at the spawns. They don't seem to be able to break this effectively. They've had the good setups the past 2 times on this hill we've seen this game, but they just don't seem to be able to break this hill at all. And this again, just because you've got players like Lunas playing their life, spawning Vegas all the way out, and the difference in speed between LAG and Vegas is huge. Like LAG is just running it down, getting the trades. Vegas seem to be playing a little bit less aggressively. And again, we should have chalked it. We're in a situation now. Xnid has just chowed up the stairs for some reason. It could have easily waited for player number 6 to jump out into the line of sight. Xnid's just chowed Priesta. Priesta's got the kill. Yeah, we're now going into the end of this when, yeah, that's it. So that's game pretty much. Yeah. So what have we learned from today? A lot. So there's a lot went wrong for Vegas. They seem to be making some fundamental mistakes. They're not counting names. They don't seem to have the confidence in their gunfights, so they're playing a little bit passively. There's just not the pace you have with the better teams. And whilst they made mistakes in this game, but they were let off for it because of the fact that they're playing LAG, this is why they're losing against the bigger teams. It's stuff like that. Yeah. And as I say, if they're playing against their better teams, it's just gonna cause them a right big issue. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Just under 40 minutes. Hope it hasn't been too long. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.